Hi, fourth grade. Mrs. Pecora here. Today we're going to continue reading Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. But before we do, I just want to let you know if you hear a little bit of snoring, it's not me. I did not fall asleep. My little puppy is laying right here next to me on the couch, and he has fallen. Oh, look, he's stirring a little bit. But he has fallen asleep. Even though he likes to read, he sometimes falls asleep. So if you hear a little bit of snoring, it's not me, I promise. It's just him. So we were reading Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, and in the story we left off, they were at the shoe store, and Peter was getting a pair of loafers, and Fudge was getting saddle shoes. Now, I hope you looked at the page that this was on, and I put a picture of saddle shoes and I put a picture of loafers. Back in the day, when Mrs. Pecora was young, saddle shoes were quite the item, and people wore those a lot. In the other classes, they said they looked like bowling shoes, which they kind of do. But back in the 70s, when this book was made, that was the style. So let's continue reading and see what happens. Let's see. Here we go. See Peter's nice saddle shoes? My mom said. Now Fudgy tries on his nice saddle shoes. Fudge let Mr. Berman get him into his new pair of shoes. See, he said. See, like Pete has. He held up a foot. That's right, Fudge, I said, just like mine. You can sure fool little kids easy. Wear a wrap, Mr. Berman asked my mother, while Fudge walked around in his new shoes. Wrap, of course, she said. I wonder what my mother would tell Fudge tomorrow when I wore my new loafers. Oh well, that really wasn't my worry. It was her idea. When Fudge was back in his old shoes and our package was ready, Mr. Berman gave my brother a striped balloon. He offered one to me, too. I refused. How could he think a person in fourth grade might want a shoe store balloon? That wasn't so terrible, was it, Peter? My mom said as we left the store. It wasn't? I asked. Well, it could have been worse, my mother said. I suppose, I answered. We went to Hamburger Heaven for lunch. We sat in a booth. Fudge tossed his balloon around while my mom ordered for him and then herself. I ordered my own lunch, a hamburger with everything on it and a chocolate milkshake. Fudge was getting a kitty special, meaning a hamburger without a roll, some mashed potatoes, and a side order of green peas. When our lunch was served, my mother cut Fudge's hamburger into tiny pieces, which he shoved in his mouth with his fingers. Then she handed him a spoon and told him to eat his mashed potatoes. But instead of eating them, he smeared them on the wall. See, he said. I thought you told me he wouldn't behave like that anymore, I told my mother. Fudgy, that's naughty. You stop it right now. But Fudge sang, eat it or wear it, and he dumped the whole dish of peas over his head. I laughed. I couldn't help it. He looked so silly with the peas falling from his hair. And when I eat and laugh at the same time, I choke. So I choked on my pickle, and my mom had to whack me on the back, which gave Fudge another chance to spread mashed potatoes on the wall. That's when the waitress asked my mother, did we want anything else? No, thank you, my mother said. We have more than enough now. She wiped off the wall with her napkin and told Fudge he was very, very naughty. Not me, said Fudge. Not me. Yes, you, my mother told him. Why can't you eat like Peter? See how nice Peter eats? Fudge didn't say anything. He just stuck his fork into his balloon. It popped and he screamed, all gone! Want more balloon, more! Shut up, I told him. Can't you ever act human? That's enough, Peter, my mom said. She should have slugged him. That would teach that brother of mine how to behave in Hamburger Heaven. We took a cab home. Fudge fell asleep on the way. He had his fingers in his mouth and made a slurping noise. My mother whispered to me, our day wasn't that bad, was it, Peter? I didn't answer. I just looked out the taxi window and decided I would never spend a day with Farley Drexel Hatcher again. Chapter 7, The Flying Train Committee. In January, our class started a project on the city. Mrs. Haver, our teacher, divided us up into committees by where we live. That way we could work at home. My committee was me, Jimmy Fargo, and Sheila. Our topic was transportation. We decided to make my apartment the meeting place because I'm the only one of the three who's got his own bedroom. In a few weeks, each committee has to hand in a booklet, a poster, and be ready to give an oral report. The first day we got together after school, we bought a yellow poster board. Jimmy wanted a blue one, but Sheila talked him out of it. Yellow is much brighter color, she explained. Everything will show up on it. Blue is too dull. Sheila thinks she's smarter than me and Jimmy put together because she's a girl. So right away she told us she would be in charge of our booklet and me and Jimmy could do most of the poster, as long as we check with her first to make sure she likes our ideas. We agreed, since Sheila promised to do 10 pages of written work and we would do only 5. Now, boys and girls, keep in mind this was before the age of computers, so they had to hand write everything out. After we bought the yellow poster board, we went to the library. We took out 7 books on transportation. We wanted to learn all we could about speed, traffic congestion, and pollution. We arranged to meet on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons for the next 2 weeks. Our first few committee meetings turned out like this. We got to my place by 3:30, had a snack, then played with Dribble for another half hour. Sheila gave up on Cooties when Fudge lost his front teeth. But it still wasn't much fun to have her hanging around. She's always complaining that she got stuck with the worst possible committee, and that me and Jimmy fool more than we work. We only put up with her because we have no choice. Sheila and Jimmy have to be home for supper before 5:30, so at 5 o'clock we start cleaning up. We keep our equipment under my bed in a shoebox. We have a set of magic markers, Elmer's glue, Scotch tape, a really sharp pair of scissors, and a container of silver sparkle. Sheila carries our committee booklet back and forth with her. She doesn't trust us enough to leave it at my house. The poster board fits under my bed along with our supplies. We stack the library books on my desk. The reason I make sure we clean up good is that my mother told me if I left a mess, we'd have to find someplace else to work. By our third meeting, I told Jimmy and Sheila that I figured out the solution to New York City's traffic problems. We have to get rid of the traffic, I said. There shouldn't be any cars or buses or taxis allowed in the city. What we really need is a city monorail system. That's too expensive, Sheila said. It sounds good, but it's not practical. I disagree, I told Sheila. It's very practical. Besides getting rid of all the traffic, it'll get rid of air pollution and it'll get people where they're going a lot faster. But it's not practical, Peter, Sheila said again, and it costs too much. I opened one of my books on transportation and read Sheila a quote. A monorail system is the hope of the future. I cleared my throat and looked up. But we can't write a report about just the monorail, Sheila said. We'll never be able to fill 20 written pages with that. We can write big, Jimmy suggested. No, Sheila said. I want a good mark on this project. Peter, you can write your 5 pages about the monorail system and how it works. Jimmy, you can write your 5 pages about pollution caused by transportation. And I'll write my 10 pages on the history of transportation in the city. Sheila folded her arms and smiled. Can I write big? Jimmy asked. I don't care how big you write as long as you put your name on your 5 pages, Sheila told him. That's not fair, Jimmy said. This is supposed to be a group project. Why should I have to put my name on my 5 pages? Then don't write big, Sheila shouted. Okay, I'll write so small Mrs. Haver will need a microscope to see the letters. Very funny, Sheila said. Look, I told both of them, I think all our written work should be in the same handwriting. That's the only fair way. Otherwise, Mrs. Haver will know who did what, and it won't be a group project. Say, that's a good idea, Jimmy said. Which one of us has the best handwriting? Oh, sorry, boys and girls. Pages are sticking here. Me and Jimmy looked at Sheila. Well, I do have a nice even script, Sheila said. But if I'm going to copy over your written work, you better give it to me by next Tuesday. Otherwise, I won't have enough time to do the job. And you two better get going on your poster. Sheila talked like she was the teacher and we were the kids. Me and Jimmy designed the whole poster ourselves. We used the pros and cons of each kind of transportation. It was really clever. We divided a chart into land, sea, and air, and we planned an illustration for each, with the airplane done in silver sparkle and the letters done in red and blue magic marker. We got halfway through the lettering that day. We also sketched in the ship, the plane, and the truck. When Sheila saw it, she asked, Is that supposed to be a train? No, I told her, it's a truck. It doesn't look like one, Sheila said. It will, Jimmy told her, when it's finished. I hope so, Sheila said, because right now it looks like a flying train. That's because the ground's not under it yet, Jimmy said. Yeah, I agreed. See, we've got to make it look like it's on the street. Right now it kind of does look like it's up in space. So does the ship, Sheila said. We'll put some water lines around it, I told her. And some clouds around the plane, Sheila said. Listen, Jimmy hollered. Did anybody ever tell you that you're too bossy? This poster is ours. You do the booklet, remember? That's the way you wanted it. See, there you go again, Sheila said. You keep forgetting this is a committee. We're supposed to work together. Working together doesn't mean you give the orders and we carry them out. My feelings exactly, I thought. Sheila didn't answer Jimmy. She picked up her things, got her coat, and left. I hope she never comes back, Jimmy said. She'll be back, I told him. We're her committee. Jimmy laughed. Yeah, we're all one happy committee. I put our poster under the bed and said goodbye to Jimmy, then washed up for supper. All right, boys and girls, we're going to stop there for now, so stay tuned tomorrow for the next couple pages. Bye-bye.